Ferrero Rocher chocolate bar. Crunchy hazelnuts, smooth chocolate. Ferrero Rocher.
What? No, I just turned the music. Oh. Hello, welcome.
Okay. Oh, don't like it. All right. Hi, guys. Welcome back. Week 2. It's way too loud for me. All right. So we have. I am on. Right? Oh, there you go. It's nicer. We have a number of people that had to join virtually just because of family situations today. So I know we look a little lighter in class, but I think we have 5 or 6 people joining virtually. But welcome back. It's nice to see everybody. I don't know about all of you. It feels like it's been a long day today. I don't know what's going on, but nice to see everyone. Recap last week. We went through orientation. Who was not here last week? Don't be shy. Okay. Oh, Lori, that's right. In the packets, did you get an original packet from last week? I'll give you one. In the original packet is a press release form, like a photo release form, and a whole bunch of other information. So please take a minute to take a look at that. Sign the form, send that over to me. If you have any issues or questions, let me know. Excited today. We took a lot of time last week talking about just us, right? How we got here, where we're going, what we all bring to the program, and just kind of the excitement around all of this and some debrief on orientation. Give me some takeaways from last week. This is where you all participate. Okay. Okay. Yes, you remembered. I love it. I was going to ask that. It was too early in the day. I love that. And why is that important?
That's important because collaboration is something that you want as a small business to grow bigger.
Yeah, Absolutely.
I took away that we're all in different stages of growing our businesses. Some of us has already started and have sales. Some of us aren't there yet. So we kind of gotta get together and check out each other's stumbling blocks and help each other.
Yeah, I love that. So, a lot of this program, again, is all of you make up the majority of the program, right? I mean, again, none of us here are teachers. We are all subject matter experts in our field, here to help support you grow, develop. But the reality is, a lot of you have are part of businesses that can collaborate together. You can learn from each other. You can share feedback, you can give ideas. If you're not a collaborator business wise, you could be a customer to each other, right? And you can help provide someone and elevate them because we're completely worth it. What else from last week? Or anyone else?
You got mentor versus sponsor.
Absolutely. Tell me about that.
The mentor is somebody that helps guide you along your way, and sponsor is somebody that introduces you to a room that you're not even in.
Absolutely. So she mentioned mentorship and sponsorship, and I'm only reiterating that since we have people on virtually. And again, understanding that mentorship is about answering your questions, helping guide you. Sponsorship is about talking about you when you're not in the room, right? So finding that person that can speak to you, speak to your credibility, give you some accountability when you're not necessarily in this space. Today, we are going to dive into content. So, we are going to talk about business planning, right? This is the first stage of setting up a business. For some of you, you'll already have gone through the process of setting up a business plan, right? So, the idea there is what can you take away in each of the segments on a business plan regarding how you can beef that up, right? Whether it is learn something new, add something to your business plan, share something, or you sit there and you say, no, I have a good business plan. I know exactly how I want to deliver and the engagement that I want to provide. For some of you, you're on the complete opposite end of that. So you're in the middle of setting up your business plan, making sure that you understand what are the key components for me to genuinely be able to succeed, okay? Today we have got presenting on the business plan, because again, nobody wants to hear me talk, is Tony Maggio, Anthony Maggio, but he goes by Tony. He is with Community First Funds and is one of the community lenders, represents the greater Harrisburg market as well as York and Lancaster. Just York. Okay. Great partner of ours. So he's going to be speaking regarding Community First Funds. Let everybody know a little bit about Community First Funds. They are a community partner in all of this. So certainly another option for everyone to be able to pick up the phone, call, outreach. Lorena Rakowski. Lorena was here last week. She is one of one of the lenders that is part of my team. She is right down the road with me here in Harrisburg. She will be speaking alongside Tony. Of course, also a resource. So you get out of today what you put into today. We're going to talk through business plans. You each have two sets of business plans. One will be for you to take notes on from the class. One will be for you to start working on for yourselves. The idea today is that we take about 45 minutes to an hour to go through content. This is not them talking to all of you or speaking at you. So I'm going to be in the back hollering if nobody is chiming in. The idea here is to share, right? So if you have a business plan and you have input to share in certain sections, please take the opportunity to share with the class what your learnings have been. If you have questions, this is a safe space. There is no question that is a wrong question. So please ask the questions so that you get to learn more. We will break for dinner probably around, what time is it, 7 o'clock. And then we'll come back, we'll break up into groups, and we'll actually talk about all of our individual plans as a group. And whether that is, this is what I've learned, this is what I'd like to know, and we will all circulate the room. Jen Burkholder, who is also with M&T, is in the back here also as a resource. She's one of our branch managers. She supports our Paxton Street branch. So she does a lot of small business lending where she is, so a great resource. And of course, we have Madonna and Jamal as well as at the back. So don't be shy. Let's get through this content today. I will just add, someone asked me last week about setting up a Facebook group for social just interaction as a group. I cannot, from a compliance standpoint, set it up for you, but I am very open to if someone would like to set that up on behalf of the entire cohort, or maybe Jamal, we talk about this after, have something set up for the group. So if everyone is comfortable with that, we can always set one up and have everyone join as they would like to. And a lot of that is just for all of you to continue the conversation when we're done. So I'll just put that plug out there. And I think that's all I have for now. Okay. All right. I'm going to pass it off to Tony and Lorena. If you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. All right? Big energy. Say hello. Okay.
Hello, everyone. You got to excuse me. I'm not used to public speaking, so if I get a little nervous, just bear with me. Glad to be here tonight. Welcome, everybody. Excited to be here. A little bit about myself and Community First Fund. Community First Fund is a nonprofit organization. We partner with banks and small businesses. Our mission is to help small businesses that are minority-owned, women-owned, veteran-owned, or located in a low to moderate income area. We also are able to help entrepreneurs out of the gate with some of their funding that they need. Myself, have been in the Harrisburg area for all my life. I've been in banking for the last 22 years in different organizations, and I've been with Community First Fund since September of 22. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the business plan. So the business plan is a very important piece of starting your business. You can use this as the, let's get to the, I already lost my part. So we're going to be discussing how to create a business plan, what should be included in your business plan, and the details around the business plan. So why is it important? And please participate tonight because I can't talk all night long. So why is it important? Why do you guys think it's important to have a business plan? It's your roadmap. You use this as your guide. This is where you put your thoughts down, your initial thoughts of when you're sitting down and you got that napkin, you put it over to paper so that everyone else can read it and know what your business is about. Do you want to? So like this says, a good business plan guides you through each stage, starting and managing your business. It is your guide, your GPS for structuring, running, growing your new business. The business plan allows a roadmap that allows you to think through details and how your business is run.
So let me throw it out there. Who has already created a business plan? Nice.
Excellent.
I love this. So some of the things, guys, that we're going to talk about tonight. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Lorena. I feel like I met all of you last week with M&T Bank. I have been, you have my bio, but I have been in banking for like 25 years. I'm aging myself here. Working with small businesses just like yourselves at several different institutions, working from startup businesses all the way up to, $25, $30 million businesses. So kind of the gamut as far as business lending, that's probably been about my highest. So working and creating business plans is not necessarily, was never my job to do, but I really worked with a lot of small business owners who wanted to start up a business, maybe some who bought out another business, and really making sure that you have that GPS is key. And we use GPS, nowadays. I guess I wouldn't have said that 20 years ago, but really having that plan in place. What do you guys think about a business plan and changing as you grow? Please.
I think that as a business owner, when I have my business, that changing the business plan just shows that you're actually working on the business and in the business and about the business. So it's extremely important to review it. I mean, I recommend it sometimes every 3 months, depending on how fast it's growing, every 3 weeks, depending on the numbers. So, yeah.
I love that. Anyone else? Thank you so much. Anyone else? Business plan that has changed? Please.
Speaking for our business that hasn't even started yet, in developing goals, strategic goals for your business as far as numbers and things like that, the more you learn, I think the more specific the business plan gets as far as how you're going to accomplish the goals, and I think it gets more accurate as you get more information. So I think the business plan should grow with the amount of information you have.
I love that. Thank you both for participating. So when we think about it, it's a living, breathing thing, and it should be, because sometimes you think you're going to go this way, and sometimes you end up pivoting and going a different way. Maybe something that you put in your original business plan may not have really been achievable for you to do. It's okay that it changes. The key is to have one. So why do you need to have one? Some maybe one-word examples of why, please.
It's your house for your business. So it's your house. It's your fundamental. People, you take yourself serious too. You can't keep everything in your brain. So yeah, without a business plan, I don't think you have a business.
I love that. Very, very true. Anyone else think oh, I'm sorry, Tony, can you? No, please, anyone else? I love participation.
Funding.
Oh, what do you mean by that? Thank you. You just
can
led
take
me
it
to where I
to-
wanted to
You
go.
can take it to different banks and, other lenders so that they can know that you're, try to see where your trajectory is, what your potential is, how refined you've made your business plan for your business, and, maybe even if you have room to grow.
Thank you. I love that.
Is it considered equity too towards your business, having a business plan? Like if you ever sell your business and you have a plan, isn't that considered equity?
So it definitely could be. So a lot of times, like when you're selling a business, some people say it's goodwill, but the goodwill has to be created somehow, and hopefully that business plan helped create it. So yeah, I definitely see where you're going with that. Anyone else want to add anything? Please. You know you're getting the microphone.
I mean, the issue that I actually have is getting it from here onto the paper. So, because I'll start writing and then it just goes all over, and then what happens when writing a business plan or attempting to write a business plan, you become overwhelmed because there's so many possible ideas. I get the idea that it is actually a living document and is forever changing, but God, everything that those thoughts that rush through, it's just like, stop. And then it looks like you're all over the place without it.
So you're in the right place. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. And thank you for being honest, right? So when you think about a business plan, a lot of people get overwhelmed and it's like, oh my God, there's so much to it. So listen, I don't have all the answers. I'm not going to be able to solve everything tonight. But what we do have is, obviously, we have the PowerPoint. We also handed out to you two kind of ways to keep you on track in creating your business plan. It's hard, there's a lot, right? And it does change. So don't necessarily think this business plan, this is it, and it has to, no, that's not the way that real life works, and we all know that. There's also a sample business plan that we're gonna go through that you can kind of take a look at. Your business plan is yours. It's yours. Right? No one else can tell you exactly what needs to be in it, but there are certain things that you should have in your business plan. Did you have someone else? Please.
Oh, I was just going to say the business plan is the center of communication, whether it's going to be to banks, whether it's going to be to potential partners in your business. It's really the nucleus of the idea of your business. It gets every detail you can possibly get out as far as competition, what the numbers look like, and what you're going to do in different situations. So I think that it's the nucleus of the idea. So you need
I
it.
love that. That's awesome.
Can I
Thank-
add, Lo?
Oh, please.
And I promised I wouldn't interject, but that's not my style.
She told me that today. I didn't
Okay,
believe her
so
once.
I think a big part of understanding a business plan too is knowing that there's two different facets to this, right? So there's the understanding how it contributes to how you run your business on a day-to-day basis. Who are your customers? Who do you want to be known for? How do you show up? How do you brand yourself, right? And then there's the entire lending credit aspect of that. So if someone sends me, if I'm reading through a business plan and it is a nurse who is trying to tell me that they suddenly want to start selling snacks, the first thing that goes through my head is I'm looking for some kind of correlation here, right? Like, how do you suddenly know about snacks and what your target audience is, right? And I'm not saying that we wouldn't look at that from a lending standpoint, but we need to be able to understand when we read the business plan that there's some level of articulation between who I am and how I'm getting to where I'm going, right? And understanding as well, if I'm not the one, if I'm just putting the money in to help support, but I'm hiring people who know a lot about the business to be a part of it, that's a big part of helping everybody else understand. So exactly what Lorena said, you know, a lot of it is in being able to paint the story, right? You got a lot up here, how do I put it down? That's the point of this, right, is to break it down into sections and really ask yourself, do you know who you are and how you want to be known? And then how do you turn around and share that with everybody else so that you get buy-in on the other hand, right? So there's a lot of influence without authority in business planning. How do I influence all of my other centers around me to buy into what I'm trying to put out there without having any authority over those people? Okay, now I'm going to stop talking.
Thanks, Nat. So yeah, I mean, think of your business plan as, so you're going to meet one-on-one with your community lender, your business banker. However, when you hand that business plan over, we're going to be then discussing it with our underwriters, our loan committee. So it really is your first piece of information that goes beyond the lender. So it is the way to represent yourself to everyone in the back office. Go ahead, Lorena.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Tony. Thanks, Nat. So if you think about it, what's the purpose of your business? We need to understand that, right? That should be the first piece of your business plan. What is your purpose? What is it that you want to accomplish? Are you selling snacks? What is it that you are trying to accomplish? Believe it or not, there's some people that want to start a business, and you think of, like I always think of Shark Tank, you think of Shark Tank, and really, what is the purpose? What are you trying to accomplish? Are you just trying to sell snacks, or do you want to make it bigger? So those things, and again, it's a living, breathing thing, right? That could change day by day. But some of the questions that you want to think about for the purpose of your business, what product or service are you selling? Kind of important, right? So even if it's not like a physical, snack or something like that, is it communications? Is it digital marketing? What is it? What is unique about your business? Why do you think that's important? Go ahead, either.
You just need to establish your individuality compared to everybody else and why your business would either succeed or push you a step further than what everybody else is doing.
Market share. What do you mean? Basically, how much of when you're in a space, you need to see how much of that business you actually can capture. How is it that who are you going to touch when your competitors are not actually going to reach them, or if you can reach them in a different way? So it's market share.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Authenticity. Authenticity.
Oh, yes.
Authenticity gives, it's a really strong structure in a business because it has you be unique.
Yeah.
If you're authentic in what you're serving and you stick with it. So I think authenticity creates the market. Even if there's something that's not there, it's a new invention. And nowadays that's actually something really hard because the world is more in people. So to be authentic definitely makes you unique.
Yeah. What sets you apart? It's so crucial.
Okay. Wait a
I'm
minute.
sorry.
So I do have another one. So
You're hiding over here. I
know.
didn't even know.
So no, like it's important like to be unique. Like for me, you kind of want to you want to blow your competitors out like outside the order, like cuz I'm doing clothes and like there's like a million different people doing clothing brands and whatnot. So like you really want to stand out and like have like a meaning to something.
Yeah. Very nice. Thank you. I can't even read that from here.
What are the
That's
weaknesses?
terrible. Go ahead, Tony.
So the next one we have is, what are your company's strengths and weaknesses? And we're thinking about strengths and weaknesses. We're not all great at everything. And business owners wear many, many hats. Some hats they're very good at, some hats they should hand off to others. But what are your company's strengths and weaknesses? Why is this important for you to know?
Kind of just trying to address of course, the issue before. So if you're a business owner, every day is kind of going out to battle, trying to find profit or find a new client or just continuing to have your business grow. So you want to address everything that you have in stock or what you're lacking before you go out, and then you're in the face of an issue and patting your pockets like, oh, I didn't have this. So addressing it early.
Yeah, thank you. One thing I like to point out, oh, Tony, you're running the steps tonight. Oh, it's my Celtics man. Okay.
It's helpful as it falls in line with your SWOT analysis to go ahead and have an understanding of your competition as well as yourself. So that way you're able to put the best product forward, whether it's physical, digital, or otherwise. What's the SWOT? Your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats.
Love it.
Where they intersect.
Very nice.
Oh, Dejan?
Gotcha.
It also allows you to build a strong team where if you know your weaknesses, you'll be able to bring on individuals that will be able to assist in those aspects that you may be lacking in. So it'll help with building up a great team.
Absolutely, thank you. A lot of people are afraid to point out their weaknesses. Don't be afraid. We all have them. Every company has them. When I started working for M&T, I don't remember ever doing what's called a credit memo, which is like when I'm submitting all of your information for lending. I don't ever remember any other bank I worked for asking for strengths and weaknesses, literally pointed out. We have to write it. And I used to say to Nat, I don't want to put their weaknesses. I want to get it approved, right? Like, why would I do that? But it's okay. You need to know the weaknesses of your business. How do you accommodate it? How do you add team members that are going to make you better and maybe overcome some of those weaknesses?
I'd like to also add that strengths and weaknesses allow you to be able to position yourself with your competitors. But, and you were the gentleman who said build your team. It's your internal and your external team to also, like with some of us are in here in like businesses and industries, to be able to collaborate with another business owner that is in the same space so that we can get to the same purpose as far as building the community and the business.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. That's what it's all about, right? Your network is your what?
Net worth.
Absolutely. I love that. Mhm. Yeah. 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 It's a nicer word.
Enemy.
Yeah. Yeah. It really is. Absolutely. Go ahead, Tony.
I had a question about this. So,
Please.
is there any business or any good example that you have where you've seen the weaknesses of a business addressed to where it would be suffice for someone getting lending? So a newer business addressing weaknesses. How does that look?
You want to take it, Tony?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
absolutely. So like M&T and Lorena, we have to put strengths and weaknesses in our credit memos as well. So, and our underwriters are looking for the strengths and weaknesses. They're going to say, this type of product does not do well here. Or if your strengths or weaknesses are, like Natalie's example, is that you're changing total careers. If you're a nurse going into a snack vendor, That's a weakness. So we're going to look for the weaknesses are there. You can't get around them, but you can build them up and make them stronger. So working with your lender and working with your network as you grow your businesses, hopefully those weaknesses then will grow into strengths. But yes, just because you have weaknesses does not mean you don't qualify for a loan. It's part of the process. We don't expect businesses to be 100% running the day they hit the ground. That's impossible.
I would much rather look at a business that identifies, here's 5 things that I'm aware that are a problem, but these are the mitigants to those risks, right? Like, this is why, even with these 5 issues, this is why I think I can overcome issue number 1. This is why I think I can overcome issue number 2. Because for me, when I read a business plan and the person tells me that they're the greatest thing on the planet, I know that they haven't thought through issues. And that is a big red flag for me. And I would say this to Lorena all the time, you need to ask them what they're concerned about. Well, they're not concerned about anything. No, that's not true. What are they concerned about? And a lot of times people don't want to disclose that, right? Because I'm going to be viewed in a negative light. That's not the point, because that tells me that you have genuinely understood the business that you're trying to set up. You understand what your challenges are going to be. You understand what it is that you need to do to overcome those challenges, right? In the current marketplace. You might be someone starting a restaurant and say, I recognize that 65% of restaurants were closed during the pandemic. And I'm opening one in downtown Harrisburg, and the state isn't 100% back, so that kind of reduces a lot of like my client base. However, I'm going to proactively look for customers in specific business areas that I know would make up my business by X, Y, and Z. That's a good thing, right? Because when I read that, I'm going, this person hasn't thought through this. So it is so important to understand where the struggles are that you might have. And you might bring a whole other value that sets you apart, but knowing that tells us that you have thought through the process, right? You have considered this from is my business going to be viable, and or can I, like, for us, is the financing going to be viable, right? We're willing to take a risk. We're all willing to take a risk, but we need to know that you've thought through that risk as well.
Absolutely. Did
Jenny.
you have your hands up? Now, right behind you. Oh, sorry.
I just wanted to piggyback because we're talking about identifying strengths and weaknesses. So a tip for your SWOT is that your strengths and your weaknesses are internal and what you control. So like, what are my strengths? What do I build on? My weaknesses are what I'm not good at. And then your opportunities and your threats are external, and those are things that are around you and surround you that you can't control, but you can utilize the opportunity, or you can identify and turn that threat into a strength, or turn that threat into an opportunity.
Love that. It's not your first rodeo, right? Very nice.
Could a weakness be what you actually need the money for? So, say for instance, if you're trying to grow and you need to hire staff, so your weakness would be manpower.
Yeah.
Would that be frowned upon? Like, you know, this is why I need the money, because I need a new building, or I need this or that, and it's kind of the reason why I can't go to the next level.
So no doubt, absolutely. And that's, again, kind of going back to what Nat just said. So the knowledge that you have these weaknesses and why you have those weaknesses, it's huge. It plays such a large part in getting you approved. Maybe because of your cash flow or because of lack of collateral, and I'm going way in a tangent here, so I apologize, but that could be the reason that maybe a tradition, like I couldn't do a loan for you, but Tony could. That's why we have SBA. There's so many different options. Is it going to be every approval for every single person? No. But again, recognizing those weaknesses, the knowledge of having them, And really, I'm coming to you to help me overcome them, right? Because that's why you go to a bank. That's why you're going to actually apply for a loan. You're recognizing those weaknesses. So yeah, absolutely.
And Jenny, just think through, so we talk about this later in the program, right? Personal credit and business credit. Sometimes it's as simple as I went and got a whole bunch of different loans because I didn't have an established business to get started. But that's now become my biggest weakness because now I'm paying principal and interest payments at a high interest rate on 6 different loans. And hey, Community First Funds or whoever bank, I now need one loan to consolidate all my loans to get myself to a position that I've got extra free cash in my pocket to hire that next person, right? But understanding how to articulate that and getting that thought on paper and being able to say, this is why I need this and this is how this is going to help move the needle for me is important. So view that as a, and again, not getting into the weeds, depending on the type of lending that you need, there's lending to grow, lending to sustain, right? And that's all, and lending to fix. So that all of that is encompassed in all of this.
Nice job, guys. Thank you. By the way, I don't even know if I mentioned this, but there are 2 copies of templates for business plans. If I did not mention that one of those copies is to take notes during this. I see a lot of people taking notes. Listen, it doesn't matter to me where you take notes, but I'm just letting you know that's kind of why we hand it out too. Because in our second half after dinner, you guys are gonna work on your business plan or attempt to start your business plan if you don't have one, and we're gonna have you partner up. So let's go on to the next section. Tony, you wanna do this one?
So description of the market. First, let's start off with the most important piece of your market. Who are your customers? Who are you trying to sell to? Who's going to give you money for the services that you're providing? Understanding your target market. How large is your target market in your products or services? Again, if there's a restaurant, your target market might be 5, 10 blocks. If you're online, your target market is everybody. Is the market growing? So are you getting into an industry that is on a downslide or is it growing? That's that question there. Know what type of industry you're getting in and look to see where it's at. Marketing and advertising strategies. It's going to be different for each business that you have. Again, a restaurant's going to market different than someone who's online or who doesn't have a shop. But having that strategy and a budget in mind for your marketing is very important. Your pricing strategy. So why do we think it's a good idea to know what your pricing strategy? What is your pricing strategy? Does anyone know what that means? What we're asking for there?
Basically your cost and your retail. So basically strategizing how much money you're going to need to actually buy and make whatever it is, if it's food or not, and then how much you're going to sell it for it. That's kind of, I mean, it goes deeper than that, but that's kind of one point I wanted to bring up.
Anyone else want to add to that?
I think the pricing value of your strategy is also based on the value you present to your potential customers. What will my customer be willing to pay? What value, how will they see the value in what I am offering? So it's price, cost, and profit and return on investments.
Very nice.
Very nice. It's also a good idea to understand your competitors' pricing market. Are you going to be higher than them? Are you going to be lower? If you're lower, why are you lower? Are you just lower to be lower? Or are you actually being able to provide something at a better cost than they are?
We already hit it, Tony, so I just went ahead and.
Description of competition, yeah. So
go ahead.
As good as it is to understand your own business, it's that much more important to understand your competitors because these are the people that are taking your business away from you. So who are your competitors? Who's in your market? Who are you competing against?
Does anyone know why that's important in the business plan? Seems simple, right? So we have some people live streaming, so if you don't talk into the mic, they won't be able to hear you.
Understood.
I know that you're loud enough.
You said, repeat the question again, was the target market, right? Oh, well, my thought process on that was because you need to know how to stand out amongst them and how what you're going to do is going to be a little bit more effective than how they do it as well.
Yeah, right? So again, it goes back to what makes you unique and also really understanding what are your competitors doing? Are they successful?
Yeah, like
or
from-
are they not successful, right?
Yeah, for instance, my competitors will be CBS, ABC, Penn Live, Daily Voice. But then the way that I use comedy as an interim, then I also have the shade rooms, a lot of different companies. I will be competitors, and how I could combat all of them as being a live time news channel, where I'm showing you everything in live time. It's breaking.
And that's what makes you unique.
I was just thinking, like, I know for my CPR business, like, just comparing, like, what works and what doesn't work, so that you don't have to spend unnecessary time and energy trying to figure it out on your own. So.
I have a question, because when we're looking at target audience and competition, for a startup, for the smaller startups, what reliable resources would be a good place to go and look to be able to research, to get that information?
So I love that question. And in this day and age, guys, listen, 20 years ago, we did not have that big, largest thing in the world that no one could survive without right now, the internet, right? Is everything that you read on the internet true? Of course not, right? But there's a lot of different outlets for you to get that information. Tony, what do you guys use at Community First Fund? As far as like IBIS World or kind of looking at marketing strategies, you don't? So there are several different ones, and I will get you a list because some of them you can actually go in for free, like as a trial, and there's so much information out there. We use them at a bank because whenever I do a credit memo, I have to rely on what you say, but then I also have to do my research. And every bank kind of uses a little bit different one, but there's so much information, right? Don't just Google it, but sometimes Google isn't so bad, right?
I was going to say, in the means of competition, it's also wise to look at what's happening around you locally, be a customer of that competition, as well as look at what's happening regionally, and if you're going national, international as well, because the internet does allow you to be a customer online, especially if you're engaging in products and services. So when we're looking at our competition, it's always good to look at those 4 different spheres.
Absolutely, I love it. Thank you.
I guess for our business that we're trying to start, we really looked at, does the competition have capacity to accommodate every customer in the market right now? Like, if there's more customer demand than our competition is able to satisfy, then we feel like it's fragmented and that we can move in and satisfy that portion of the customer base. So that's a big part of knowing competition.
No doubt, and it's even if you can capture part of it, you don't always have to conquer the world. That's what I always say to everyone. Listen, you're not going to go out there open day one and every single person's going to come to your restaurant or whatever your business is. It's okay, and you can have that niche piece of the market. It's not always going to be 100%. I know we all want it to be, but 100% day one. Okay, living, breathing thing. Your business plan.
Your competitors' weaknesses becoming a opportunity for yourself. So a lot of times you start a business is because you see that the people who are doing it right now aren't doing it well enough, or there's something that you feel that you can do better than them, and their weaknesses become that opportunity for you.
I just wanted to add to that too, is that usually if you understand what's going on, it actually brings out your uniqueness even more. Being like, for instance, for me, I'm in the health and world industry of food. There's no one in the world yet doing food based on your blood type, delivery, food, restaurant, service. So that's kind of was like, okay, so when you want to stick out, we all have our own fingerprint. It's enough for everybody. The competition doesn't mean you're not going to make it. It just means how you're going to shine more. So I don't look at anybody as a competition. It's just how I'm going to stick out as a leader or a follower.
I'll add, Lorena talked about sites that give you insight into the industry at large. We use Vertical IQ a lot, and we can certainly, if anybody would like a snapshot on the industry that they're in, we can certainly send it to you. You have all of our contact information. But what's nice about it, if I'm looking at it before we go to a client meeting, or I'm asking this of the team, is if it's giving you trends, right? So they go out and they survey a whole bunch of businesses in that particular industry, and then they come up with trends on sales, on income, on challenges, and it's a really nice value add to be able to look and say the industry at large grows by 2% every year, right? And you're looking at your own numbers and you're like, wow, I'm growing by 6% every year. That's a good thing, right? It's a good thing to know if you're trending ahead of the industry or behind it. And if you're behind it, why? And if you're ahead of it, also why, right? And being able to articulate that, right? And being able to adjust and be flexible and pivot your own business plan according to that. So I'm looking for, when we go out on meetings, for the team to be asking that information, right? Hey, why do you think, I recently read that, the industry at large grows by 2% a year. And I noticed when I look at your numbers over the last 5 years, you've grown by 8% every year. Help me understand, how you're doing that. Because for us, the question is that sustainable? Right? That's where we're getting with that question. Is that sustainable growth, or did you just hit it at the right time? Anyone that sold wine or any kind of alcohol during the pandemic boomed, right?
It's true.
Because if you
I
were
have a
like
lot of
me,
those
you subscribed to an at-home service. So, but at the same time, was that a one-off thing, or is that something that can genuinely continue down the road? That's a big piece of understanding this, and there's a lot of stuff right now that is skewed by COVID numbers. So being able to just pull out and assess for yourself, what part of this can I control, and what part of this do I not have any control over that could fluctuate, is important.
So my question goes right with what you just said, Natalie, Vertical IQ, this platform. Is there other platforms out there that are free and available to small businesses? Because I've been asked so many times, what does your market look like? And I'll look it up on Google, and I'm seeing articles random, how do I know these people are worthy of
So some of them do free trials. So you could sign up for free trials. Let me look into that for you. I feel like there is one that is absolutely free for small business owners, and I can't for the life of me think of what that is right now. Let me check into that for you guys.
I believe the SBA has one.
The SBA definitely has one, and the SBDC.
Use your community partners.
Yes.
The SBDC will also have something. Yes.
SBDC.
Small Business Development
Center.
Thank you. Yes. And I will get you those addresses as well.
I was just going to say you can also utilize the AI tools that have been coming out. You can make your question very descriptive, and even though their information stops at 2021, you can ask it well, what other resources can I look up? Can you give me free resources to find these things as well? Just,
There really are. Thank you. Thank you for adding that. There's a lot of resources out there.
I'm sure.
Is someone talking? I'm sorry. I never heard of that. Oh, you wanted to tell us about it?
That one.
I never heard of this one.
You do have to pay for it, but they have a free trial. You can do weekly, monthly, or lifetime. It's called Al Smith, A.L. Smith.
We can send out a list then. Yeah. Skip.
I knew you wanted to say something.
Yeah, there are actual sites that if you do pay, there's AIs that will build your whole business plan. All you do is just tell it who you are, what you do, and it will give you a whole detailed spiel of it. I had a friend do it for me on his, and it was crazy. In 30 seconds, it told me what my target market is, what my revenue was. So you could use that as like a guide plan. So sometimes invest in it too.
I was gonna say, if I get something like that, I'm asking questions.
Gotcha. Right. So you've got to make it. It just guides you. Yep. Yeah.
So that makes it generic means that any business can pull it up.
Yeah.
Talk to it, it's very generic. They still don't know your business, like what your intentions.
No one knows you like you, right? It's your business. All right, we're going to go on. I'm sorry, guys. You are so interactive that if you would have saw what I was going to do with the PowerPoint, my goodness. So let's talk about the description of the management capacity. You want to make sure in your business plan that you're explaining this. Like we were just talking about, I have a landscaper that opened an ice cream shop. What? No joke, and he's super successful. He was a successful business person, and he just didn't want to do landscaping anymore, and his dream was to open an ice cream shop. So, I mean, those things happen. Is it harder to get lending when those type things happen? Of course it is, but when you're successful, you can kind of pivot and do something different. So really think about that, your experience in the industry. We have some restaurants that are opened by a chef because the chef has been a chef for 10 years, right? So he's able to cook the food, but can he run a successful business? Because there's more that goes into it, right? It's not all, yes, I can make great food. Unfortunately, running the business is a challenge. So I think it was, Dejan, you talked about the people who you're gonna hire to join that team, right? They're gonna make you more successful. So management background, who's gonna actually manage it? Lawyer, accountant, consultant.
Whoops.
That's what I do. I mean, Tony created this PowerPoint, not me. No, I'm joking. Anyway, we all got it, right? I love that. Thank you. Thank you for calling me out. But a lawyer, an accountant, these are important people to have, right? They're going to help you even move your business plan, right? So you want to think about this. They are super important. I have a business who runs $1 million winery who did not have an accountant. Did his own taxes. I'm like, oh my God. So anyway, worked with him for a while and, got the accountant. It worked out very well. But think about that. These are people that you need to have. Okay, it's very hard to do this without.
Just a quick note on that. Your key people, your lawyer, accountant, consultant, add your banker in there, and you want to make sure that they all know of your plan, because each one of these can work different ways. So you can tell your accountant, I don't want to pay any taxes this year or for the next 5 years. But what happens when you want to go get lending? Can't do that. So you need to make sure your accountant knows your goals. If your goal is to buy a property in 3 years, we're going to show that income. Same
What do you
with
mean,
your
Tony? You just can't write everything off?
No.
No? Oh, okay. Last but not least, guys, description.
Yeah, Lorena, let me just chime in there for a second.
Sorry, go ahead.
We see this
She's not
all.
gonna say
I
anything
know,
today.
I'm trying. We see this all the
Just wants
time.
to speed up.
People don't make money, and it's because they don't want to pay taxes.
Right.
But the problem is, as any financial institution, we have to go by black and white. So if you tell me, well, I kind of pulled it out because I didn't want to pay taxes, that's great. When we get audited by the Fed is looking at your tax return. I don't care if you stashed it in a safe. I don't care if you went and ran out and bought a piece of equipment at the end of the year. Do what you need to do, but understand where you want to go, right? So it is the best time at the end of the year when you're assessing where you need to end up year end or how you want to grow or how you want your business to progress is to literally sit in a meeting with your bookkeeper / accountant / attorney, give or take with the attorney, depending on if you're growing, and your banker. Because the accountant's job is to save you from paying taxes. The banker's job is to get you money based on the income that you show you make, right? So there's plenty of times we've had accountants call us and say, all right, where do I need to end up on these numbers for the year? And we can backtrack and say, here's the deal. And do you need to borrow more money next year? Do you need more equipment? Do you need an increased line of credit? And we can backtrack numbers and say, at a bare minimum, you have to be at X. And then that's the accountant's problem. But anything outside of X, we can't work with. So just be cautious of that, right? There's a double-edged sword, but if you have all of your centers of influence sitting in a room and they're all saying to you, where do you want to be? What are your goals? What's the plan? We can all work together. We don't expect anyone in the room to be an accountant. We don't expect any of you to understand the intricacies of banking and the legality of stuff. But what we can do is advise you to help you get to what we know that you know is where you want to go and what your passion is, right? This is where I want to be in 2 years, in 5 years. What do I need to do to get there? We can all have that discussion for you.
Thanks, Nat. We will help you with this. A lot of people are scared to go to their banker to ask them questions like this. Listen, I just take it for granted that you all knew. The banker is just as important as the others, but truly, I mean, we are there to help. If you guys think back to PPP and all of what small businesses went through, we work through the night to help businesses be able to stay on track. That's what we do. That's why it's so crucial to have a banker. Last slide, guys, description of legal status. So how are you legally organized? This is one thing that a banker should not be telling you because we're not licensed to do so. However.
Can we peg this for next week? Because that's part of the panel's discussion next week.
Let's do that.
So we'll just move forward, and this is a next week thing.
Perfect. All right. So questions are just a God. This is kind of a disclaimer. Remember, your business is unique. You are going to be the one to add that, I don't want to call it fluff. Natalie always tells me that I put too much sauce on the spaghetti, which
all
means
spaghetti,
that,
no sauce. No, all sauce, no spaghetti. I'm like, come on,
which means
where's
that
the
I'm a
meat?
salesperson and I can't help it. But I like to pretty it up, right? When I write your story, I like to make sure that it's pretty and it's fluffy. Don't put too much on it, but you got to add some, right? You got to add your flair. Again, you have 2 sections of the business plan or 2 copies of the business plan. Take it, look at it. What do I need to include in mine? Okay, you are unique to you. Your business is going to be unique to you. Questions, comments?
I just had a question on your team. Like when you, for instance, for an accountant, you have an accountant, lawyer, and banker. When you first start a business, obviously, okay, the banker's one of the first places you're going to have.
You're right.
Would you say where in your business would you recommend a person getting an accountant? Because the lender, when you start your business, for instance, me, I've been in business for 2 years. Thank God I had good advice. I have an accountant from when I first got the money and when I first started investing in it. So now when I do go to the bank feels comfortable. Oh, she has an accounting firm. That means if we lend her the money, she's going to have a firm that's actually going to know how to tell her to use it. So where as a business would you say is the best point that you say, okay, you know what? Pay that extra $300 a month into your business plan where you get an accountant? If you can kind of just direct me with that.
Absolutely. So I completely agree with you. So when I get a new business that comes to me, and I will talk about who's your accountant. They look at me like I'm crazy because it's a new business, it's a startup, why do I have an accountant? They're important. They know the tax laws. They know those pieces that, listen, I can't give you advice on whether I know them or not. I'm not allowed to. So I say from the beginning. I really do. I think it's crucial. Now, when you're starting up your business plan, Maybe just get some ideas from an accountant. Remember, your network is your what? Net worth. I promise you there's an accountant somewhere, someone knows, that they can, just say, hey, in the off months, please don't call them January through April. But, someone knows someone, and they can give you that little piece of advice. Guys, use it. Use your network. I can't say that enough.
Can
right.
I
Go
be
ahead.
real for like a second? So that's a great question, and so I'm on the fence with that. I'm not disagreeing with you. Accountants can be expensive. Most startup business owners are not going out and signing a contract for a $5,000 accountant for the year, right? And what's interesting about the industry of accounting is that, I mean, when I think back 15 years, I'm like, how are there so many accountants and how are they even making money in business? Like, there are just too many accountants. The interesting thing is we are starting to see less and less accountants go to school. So the capacity for and it's a very high stress role, by the way. So if you're someone who is younger, starting a family, they're all trying to back out of it because of the late nights, et cetera. What that means, though, is that for any one accountant, the cost for them to give you the service that you need is expensive. And so I think there's an element of difference in when you're first thinking through your business, does it have to be a GAP certified CPA? I would argue that there are a lot of business consultants, people who were bankers that went into consulting, people that were CPAs that went into consulting, who run a lot of their own business consulting ventures, who are doing that information for you. Because up front, this is what you need to know. You need to know how to put together an income statement, like a profit and loss, right? So your revenues, your expenses, how do I make income? And then you need to be able to put together a balance sheet, which tells us like the equity in your business, right? Like, what is the strength of the business? And so as long as you've got someone that can help you put together those two financial statements, that's what we're looking for. And where we're gonna start questioning that on a startup side is if you tell me I'm opening up my business next month and I anticipate that by December, I'm gonna have done 1.5 million in sales. I'm going to start questioning some things. And by next year, I'm going to be at 3 million. That's where for us, this is where learning comes in. That's where for us, we start going, all right, do you understand? We go back to the business plan. Do you understand your market? Do you understand your price point? Do you understand your clients? That's not realistic. I would much rather you told me I'm going to lose money in my first year of business. And this is why. I got to pay people up front. I'm not going to have built up all of my clients. I'm going to allow everyone 90 days to pay me. And because of that, year one, I'm probably going to break even or make a loss. But then year two, I'm going to make money. I feel much better about lending that person money, mostly because I know you know exactly what you're getting into and you're not giving too much sauce, right? So I would almost, respectfully, I do think accountants are important people. I think there's a lot people on the panel tomorrow. There's a couple who are business owners who do consulting for business, who do financial. Next week. Did I say tomorrow? Oh, I won't be here tomorrow. I'll be at dance. No, so there are individuals who will help you with that as a startup, but then when you get rolling and you're like, okay, I'm where I want it to be to start up, but now I'm ready to just like turn the heat up a little bit, then you get your accountant involved. And at that point, you're in a position where you can spend that extra expense, right? So I just be cautious with that, because I do think accountants can be pricey, and nowadays they're pricier than they used to be. And do you want the person that works for a 500 company firm who is not doing like this with you? Or do you want the person that wants to sit down and says, all right, tell me your why. Tell me your purpose. Tell me why this is important to you. Tell me why you want to like potentially put in all of your investment into this. That's the person you want to sit in front of day one, okay?
So now, would you recommend at least getting an accounting system like QuickBooks or some sort of some sort of program to help with the P&L and the?
Yes, I would recommend at least that, or if you're going to work with someone, they'll obviously do that for you. But
I'm
at
all
least
about
having
doing
a good,
what you like, the cheapest that you can go. So again, using your network. I mean, we have a lot of accountants, just like what Nat said. So I am not saying go out there and spend thousands of dollars on an account. I'm thinking about the $200 accounts.
And I think too. I mean, for all of us in the room, in the professional services space, send us your business plan. Like that's why we're saying we're here, right? Send us your plan. I'd be happy to read through a plan and say, hey, these were the initial questions that came to my mind. Make sure you kind of pay attention to this, right? Send them to Lorena, send them to Tony. Like that's what we're looking to offer here to everyone, right? Like send us your stuff and say, hey, does this sound like what are some things that pop out to you when you read this? What questions automatically come to mind? We're completely open to reading that and saying, oh, here's some stuff that you need to dive into a little bit more.
Oh, God, no. All right, guys, I'm like standing here between you and food. The food is here, I think. Yes?
Yes.
The food is definitely here. So we're going to break for like 15 minutes. I know it's not that long. Bring your food back. But we want to make sure that you guys can kind of collaborate together and start looking at the business plan. So 15 minutes? 25 after 7. Thanks, guys. Thank you all for your participation. You guys were awesome.
Okay. All right. We're going to do a little bit of a working dinner slash. We're just going to break bread together and just have fun because we're running out of time. Do you want to take it away?
Sure. So what we'd like to do, can I see a set of hands for who is existing business that already has a business plan? So everyone who doesn't have a business plan, look at the hands that are up. Let's kind of get into groups of 3 or 4. And what we'd like you to do is not necessarily start working on your business plan, but if there's an ideal or if there's a takeaway that you have, or if there's a question you have, try to meet with somebody who already has a business plan, and they maybe, again, use your network to assist you with any questions that you may have. And then, of course, we're all here in the room as well. If you have any questions, you want any specific assistance with any, just let us know. We're kind of just going to eat and work on your business plans, and we're here to answer any questions that you may have.
Yeah. And can I state the obvious? So the end of every business plan comes with financial statements, which we clearly did not break down tonight, right? So every business plan, important to know the background, know who you are, who your customers are going to be, how you're going to show up, how you're going to market, how you're going to brand yourself personally and business-wise, understand how you're going to manage. The back end of that is obviously understanding the numbers and understanding how to put together financials so that you've got 3 years worth of projections. So we would be looking for you to put something together if you walked into a place to get lending. It doesn't matter where you go. Projections are going to be necessary, right? Where do I think I'm going to be? And like I said, whether that is I've got losses, don't have losses. We did not cover that tonight because there is an entire week dedicated to that. So just know it is an important part of the business plan, but we wanted to make sure everyone really understood and walked through the meat and potatoes of just knowing who you are and how you want to be known, right? And maybe part of the questions that you have and you share with each other today is, this is what I have been doing. And I don't know where it is. I'd love some feedback. Share as much or as little as you want. The idea, again, is to walk away today and over the next week. I'm never going to give out homework, but this is me giving you homework. Over the next week, take some time to sit. Give yourself some space to look through the blank business plan and really carve out what areas of this plan do I feel really confident about and what areas do I know I need to actually beef up, elaborate, etc. Right? So we're going to walk around the room, look to help. We'll talk for about 20-ish minutes, and then we'll just do some debrief.
So we did also provide an example business plan for ABC Trucking. This was actually a customer, and then the business plan that they presented to us. So it's very detailed, and again, if you're running into any roadblocks, just take a notice to that or raise your hand and we'll come around.
Okay, okay. I hate to pause everyone. So much engagement. Huh? It's okay. All right, everyone. Can I get your attention? So much excitement. I hate to pause you all, but I want to be respectful of all of your time. So let's debrief a little bit, and then, Madonna, when does everyone need to, does everyone have to be out right away?
Can you add me to the group?
And me,
I'll
please.
jump on. Yeah.
Oh, are we already there?
If you were on Gail's email today,
I don't think we
then
were.
okay. Listen to the directions. Okay. I'm the only one that needs to be on.
Thank you.
Okay. That is some real CIE stuff. I have no idea what she's talking about.
Me
So if
neither.
you click it, it's not my fault. It is Madonna's fault. Okay. So much collaboration and conversation. And as I walked around the room, I heard from people speaking through. Okay. As I walked around the room, I heard people speaking through, "Hey, I'm getting started, and this is a lot. I don't know where to start. Like, how do I start?" Right? And for some people, it was, "I've got something. I've got framework, but what I heard were key points that I can add in, that I can beef up, that I can continue to grow on." You all know why you started your business, right? When we talked last week, everyone took a moment to share what you did, why it was important to you. Start with your why, right? Understand who you are, where you're coming from, why it is that you started this business. Who did you start it for, right? Write down your why, and that is the beginning of your compass. Then peel the layers back. Peel the layers back into, okay, who is this going to impact? How is it going to impact them? How am I going to, do I have a product or a service, right? I'm debriefing here. Do I have a product or a service? Okay, how am I going to sell that product or service? Is it going to be online? Is it going to be retail? And if I do that, could I name my 3 top competitors locally in that space? Who are, how am I making my stuff? Who are my vendors? Who are my top 3 vendors that I'm going to solicit to get material from? What are the types of customers I'm going after? How am I going to sell myself? Who do I want to be known as? What does that brand look like, right? How do I want to be known? Am I projecting the best version of me? Am I projecting in whatever medium I'm doing? Is that reflective of my why? So bring yourself back to your center compass every single time. And if every single time it doesn't bring you back to that, something is missing in the plan, all right? Do not do something that you don't believe in, because it will not succeed, all right? So take a minute to just consider and revisit that consistently. Does it fill your cup? Does it drive your passion? Does it get you to where you need to go? Okay. Financials we talked through, we're gonna talk through in a couple of weeks, so we will get there. Heather ordered food tonight, so can we just give Heather a round of applause? Thank you, Heather. And I have no idea what you put in that hummus, but it was good. It was delicious. So talk about advertising yourself. Everyone that makes desserts slacking. Slacking. I'm kidding. All right. Okay, let's debrief quick. So one person from each group, do you want to run around with mics? One person from each group, just share, one thing you took away, one thing you're going to implement into your business plan, one thing you're going to start. Pick one of those questions. No, don't hand off the mic. You're holding it. Now speak.
I needed like 30 seconds to get my answer together.
Okay.
repeat the question.
Pick, just debrief. Something you took away today, something, you thought it sucked. That's okay. We'll take feedback. Feedback is a gift.
I would say the importance I took away was the emphasis on coming back over and over multiple times to your business plan or to what you've already written down, just to always see if there's room to grow, to improve, and just to kind of sharpen the edges a little more. So.
Yeah, love that, right? You got to continue to come back and revisit, and be willing to be fluid and adapt, because things change, the economy changes, clients change, interests change. Up there. Introduce yourself again.
I'm Jasmine with a hint of jazz management.
Thank you, Jasmine.
I was talking to the group about me trying to find a better way to articulate my unique value proposition. Because I'm in a market where there's thousands of publicists, hundreds of thousands of firms, it's like hard for me to say like, why should they choose me? So we kind of walked through like, how can I communicate that? Because I know what it is in my brain, but like, how do I explain that when I'm writing out my plan or a pitch?
Good exercise for that is think about your tombstone. If you were reflecting your tombstone, what would you want it to say about you, specific to your business? If you give that some thought, that's who you want to be, and that's how you want to be known.
Dijon here.
Hello, Dijon. Like the mustard.
Yes. Also a city in France. The evolution of your business plan. The key thing that we were able to go over and speak upon amongst one of our members, just as we spoke on earlier about that teamwork and having other individuals that can give your idea a path that you may have not seen. So you may have been thinking of one way of going about your business, and we were able to speak amongst each other and say that you may want to look at it in this manner. So kind of back to just that team aspect, the evolution aspect of the business plan.
Yeah, I love that. Find the sponsors and the fans, right? Yes. Because perception and perspective is reality. So you think you're presenting yourself one way, and the reality is everyone is interpreting that in a completely different manner. So find people to bounce things off of and say, what does this tell you? Like, tell me what this is. Like, what is it that I do? And if they can't explain after reading your plan what you do, something is missing. Right? Love that. Yes, question.
Do you put your network in your business plan? Like, do you let people know who your network is?
100%. Yep. It's all about net worth.
So our takeaway from our group experience is just to collaborate with our competitors, but like respectfully and mutually. And then one last thing for me, I need Matt's energy because he will bring the business to a 10. That's all.
Okay. All right. Love it.
So I've been struck. Oh.
I'm sorry. I'm Brandy.
Okay. So that when we get on this thing that Madonna created, I don't know where she is. We all know who everybody is.
I'm Danielle. CPR Concierge Services is my business. So one of the things I've been struggling with is just like all these big ideas that I have for my business, and Miss Tiffany told me to focus on just one. I also feel like I had to have all my ducks in a row before I started like putting myself out there and things like that. And we just were talking about different marketing strategies, like who to market to. And Miss Tiffany just told me, like, just to start. So that was something that I'll take away, to just start, and then everything else will fall into place.
And for the record, ducks don't fly in a row, so I don't know why people say that. So you don't have to be in a straight row. Ducks fly in twos, and they're diagonal. So when you think that, it does not have to be a straight line to success. It should look up and down. You just have to find a point to start. So.
Big takeaway for me today was really examining your weaknesses and not letting yourself think that you're going to fail just because you're diving deep into your weaknesses. Find those mitigating forces that you have against them and present that. And lenders know you have weaknesses. So, you know, it's nothing to be afraid of. Figure out what they are, work around them, and you can still be successful.
Love that. And we all have weaknesses, right? I like to call mine opportunities, but you know, they're there. And once you are brave enough to acknowledge it and know how to work around it, then it becomes a strength. So love that. Thank you.
Hi. Hello, hello.
Hello.
Okay.
Check.
Yes. Josue here with Bespoke Vending. I have one right in Strawberry Square if you like exotic and nostalgic snacks.
There is a mini pitch.
No, it's definitely worth checking out. But yeah, one thing I got today was get yourself organized. A lot of times you have all these ideas and we forget to take those 5 minutes to jot it down and get yourself organized and just staying on top of that because you want to make sure you have, you know, he said it right. A bank's looking at it black and white. You know, you need to be able to answer those questions in an organized way.
No, there's shades of gray. We're okay with shades of gray.
Yeah, there's shades of gray. Yep.
As long as you can explain the shades of gray, we're fine with that. Organization. There is a distinct difference between time management and calendar management. They are two completely different things, right, Lorena? Okay. Time management and calendar management are two very different things. Calendar management is organizing your schedule to make sure that you have things on your calendar that are repeatable behaviors that get you to where you want to go. How much time you spend on each of those behaviors is a completely different thing. So being able to assess for yourself, am I spending enough time on the right behaviors? Right, Lorena? Yes. Talk about this a lot.
At the end of June, so I wanted to go ahead. I love what this is all about, so I want to extend the invitation to everybody here in the class. I'll get a discount code set up for everybody. All the proceeds go towards getting books written by Black and brown authors into different school districts, as well as starting scholarships for different individuals, so including small business owners, as well as our youth. So Celtics start soon. I just want to leave with that.
Celtics start soon.
You,
okay.
When you get that code and everything, put it on the group chat and everything? Perfect.
Okay.
Feedback what I got was that working together is an excellent thing. Everybody has their own fingerprint. There's room for everybody to succeed. And I really want to thank you guys, honestly, for doing this for us.
Okay. All right. Wait, listen, I got to be respectful of time. One more. Go.
One more.
We're losing
So
the crowd.
I was just saying from this exercise, just don't be afraid to give back as well as reach out because everybody doesn't know everything and everybody's on different levels. So it allows you to elevate and as well as speaking to people, sometimes you can go back on your business plan or what you were doing originally and change your mindset just from based off what somebody else said.
I love that. Tony and Lorena's contact information is up there. It should be business cards down here. You already have Gayla and I's, so you are welcome to, I'll be honest, you have to shoot me a text message if you email me because I live in the world of like a rolling 60 emails. So you just have to let me know if I need to go look for something. Well, it's not a plug for us. Okay, I have two questions. Was everyone okay with tonight? Because we need feedback too, right? So we're learning as we go and making sure everyone gets what they need. Could we have added something? Could we have changed something?
Agreed.
Okay. Heather? Heather, onions on the side.
No onions.
No, I appreciate that. I asked for all feedback.
Poor Natalie. Now that Natalie.
Heather. Heather. She heard you. On the side, Heather. All right, everyone. Next week, 6 to 8. We have a great panel. Give me a second. We have a great panel next week talking about whether you should be a sole prop, an LLC, an S corp, why, what the benefits are legally, what the benefits are tax-wise, if you can claim a minority business status, why and how you should do it. We've got some business people here to talk to who can help from a putting together. We talked about not getting a true CPA initially. So a lot of nice things next week. See you all next week. I hope you enjoy the night. You're welcome. What were you going to say, darling? Sorry.